Good morning, YouTube. The day has finally arrived. We are going to start really tearing apart the Testarossa. This is going to be the last time you're going to hear it start for quite a while. I need to move it from that spot over onto that lift, and then we're going to get it up in the air. It's kind of going to be sad. I can't hear it for like another month or two. Actually, I'm the only one here at the shop, so I'm going to start tearing it apart by myself. Josh will obviously offer some insights once I get further along and I get to critical points. Certainly once I start putting it back together. But the tear apart part is pretty easy. So we're going to get wrenching on this sucker, see how far we can get today.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
All right, we jockeyed around all the cars and got the Testarossa over here, so now we can start wrenching. By the way, if you didn't know, yes, this video and this entire series, the Ferrari Testarossa Major series, is going to be sponsored by Ricambia America, so go visit ricambiaamerica.com, use the code NGS10, and they're going to give you 10% off your entire order. They're awesome. They also did our 348 series, and they've sponsored me for tons of stuff. Yes, go check out ricambiaamerica.com. So before I begin, I had a little talk with Josh, and he said basically we do not have to remove the wheels. And he said actually we don't even have to remove the bumper or the exhaust. We can actually leave the exhaust. You know, you disconnect it and it'll basically hang on the cats. So effectively what we do is we disconnect all the wires and hoses and anything that connects the engine or the transmission to the rest of the car. So we have to disconnect a bunch of hoses, drain out all the fluids. These wires right here run from past the frame onto the engine. So we're gonna have to disconnect those to this one, obviously, you know, any of the coolant lines, any of the oil cooling lines, all that sort of stuff. Once we get all of that disconnected, we disconnect the engine cradle, which holds the entire engine and transmission. We disconnect that, and then we raise the car, basically just lift the entire car up in the air, and the engine transmission stays on the ground. Pretty crazy, huh? So you can see there's some wires that go from the ECU, so we can obviously get those disconnected. Kind of pull that latch, and then it pops off the cable like that, and then obviously this can pop out of that runner. And then there's this one. This cable. Disconnect the ignition coil. It's got a zip tie in it. I guess we're going to have to cut the zip tie. And the other ignition coil on this side. Disconnect these hoses. Oh, these suckers are pretty ancient. It's like, oh man, that thing is totally shredded. I don't know if I'm gonna shoot. I may have to just break that. Look at that. It's so rusted it fell apart. Obviously buy a new hose clamp there. There we go. Alright, gotta get those wires or the hoses off the engine blocks. Oh man. So they're nice and tight. There we go. It's a little bit hard to see, but there are two cables right here and right here. We gotta disconnect these. Kind of like pull this cover back and pinch it, and that one comes off. And then this one you just pull. You gotta kind of wiggle it. There we go. Get those wires out of the way, tuck them under here, just so they're not flopping around. Alright, got another hose down here. Ooh, still had some vacuum. So there's a vacuum line right here that runs all along the side of the car, all the way up to right there on the front of the intake. So I'm gonna pull that off. There. So it looks like I had it wrong. The one on the front of the intake actually goes right there. So this one goes somewhere else. I gotta find that one still. So this vacuum line right here actually runs up, goes there through the intake, and then right there. It's not that one that I pulled off, it's the one right next to it. still have the fuel lines and a bunch of other hoses, but I'm gonna lift it up and see what we can see from underneath and try and disconnect what we can under there for a little bit. The joys of working on old cars. So put it up in the air and I was kind of just looking around and I noticed there's a belt that's totally missing. If you notice right here, there's no belt, and you can see up in there, you can see where it's supposed to go, but yeah, it's not there. So I'm gonna disconnect this brake line. As you can see, this part is actually connected to the subframe, so all the subframe goes with the transmission and engine, but you can see right here is where it disconnects from the car. This line right here is connected to the car. That side is connected to the subframe, so we obviously need to disconnect it. Basically, all we're doing is walking around the car, looking at all the parts and seeing what's connected to the subframe and what's connected to the chassis of the car. And if it's connected to the car, we need to get it disconnected so we can put it onto, you know, so we can drop the subframe. Simple as that. It's 11 millimeter. All right, so you can see it's dripping out the brake fluid, so gotta be ready to catch it. Got shooting right into the hole. Yeah, it's a good shot. All right, we're gonna pull off this under tray. I built a big old tower to prevent the splashing because it was dripping so hard. While we're waiting for that to drain, we might as well drain the oil since I can get this pan under the oil as well. So we'll do that real quick. Oil is almost drained out, so we'll start taking off the oil filter. Shot. So as you can see, the exhaust can kind of come down, but this piece right here is in the way, so we need to remove this. Also, as you can see, this thing is bent and the bracket is totally busted. So the assumption is this thing probably backed over a curb or something. You can see it's dented right here, so definitely got some battle damage. We will have to get that taken care of later, but let's get this panel off and get that out of the way. So there's two bolts way up there that hold this trip piece on, and in order to get to those, I'm going to have to pull off the fender liner. So far, all these have been 10 millimeter bolts. Now that the fender liner's out, you can see there's a bolt and right there's a bolt. So we gotta get those two bolts out of here, and then the bumper will come off. Of course, we gotta do the same thing on that side now. So you can see the battle wound on this piece. We're gonna have to obviously repair that. That's why the bumper was sagging. It looks like in order to get the exhaust to clear, we are gonna have to remove this little kind of vent piece. So let's get that out real quick. That shouldn't be very hard. All right, I think it's a good stopping point for today, so we'll continue on tomorrow. Again, this video is sponsored by Ricambio America, so go visit ricambioamerica.com. Use the code NGS10, you'll get 10% off your entire order. They're awesome. Yeah, when you're working by yourself and trying to do the camera stuff, it's pretty slow progress, so just to give you an idea, all of what you saw today was about 6 hours of elapsed time. Didn't really get very far, but we'll continue. We'll keep trucking away. Don't worry. Thank you as always for watching. You guys are amazing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be doing a lot of car stuff. We're gonna keep on wrenching this Testarossa. It's gonna be sweet.